Hey, welcome back. I am having a terrible time trying to film this video, so we're just going to make it short, sweet, and to the point right now. We're talking about 2022 and some fundamental steps you can take to benefit in 2022 no matter what happens. First, I want to touch on a little benefits of being financially educated right now. I think it's a crime that financial education isn't taught in schools because money is something we all need to know about. And I can understand why parents don't talk to their kids about it, because I'm a mom, and one, if you're doing not great financially, you don't want to burden your kids with that. You just kind of want to protect them from that world for as long as you can. And if you are doing financially well, we're just middle class, we do just fine for ourselves. But you don't want them to feel entitled. You don't want them to become spoiled brats. And so I understand it's a hard conversation to have. It should be taught in schools. It should be taught at home, even if it is a hard conversation. But it's hard to know when to have that conversation with your kids also. That being said, there are benefits to being financially educated, even if you have to do it, as I have, through the school of hard knocks, or, through learning on YouTube like I do all the time, or if you take a course or two as an adult, if you learn that way, or if you just learn from experience. There's benefits to being financially educated, and a couple of those are: one, you know where your money's going, which reduces stress and anxiety about when your bills are going to get paid, because the money's always there. And if you want to see my way of budgeting, I did a video on that. You can go check out some of my prior videos, and I talk a little bit about it in some of those. Some of the other benefits include what's going on in the world, and that financial education just kind of acts as a filter to be able to tell you when there's a good deal, when there's a bad deal, when you should do the things that will get you closer to your goals, and how to react to what's going on in the world. Especially right now, there's a whole bunch of noise out there, and that's the next thing I want to talk about, is that what is going on out there right now at the end of 2021 that people who are financially educated are paying attention to. Well, of course, there's a housing market. Everybody's hearing about the crazy housing prices. If you're anywhere close to buying a home of any kind, you know how weird the housing prices are. I bought our house 3 years ago for $155,000. That same amount of money would not get me a house half of our size right now in the same area, which is crazy to me. But people are paying attention to that. Especially if you want to get into investing like I do in the housing market, then you want to pay attention to that. The key is to ask yourself about all of these things. Is this going to affect me? What are my goals for the next year, the next couple of years? And is this something that is going to affect that goal? So if I want to get into investing, yes, the housing market changes are going to affect my goals. So I want to pay attention to that. Next thing you hear is the stock market. And I don't pretend to know a lot about the stock market. I'm not invested in it yet. I don't invest in something I don't know about. And to be honest, I'm not sure I will get into investing in it, just because it is a living, breathing animal. And I believe it is a full-time job to get to know it. Few people do it well, and I don't know that I have the kind of time it takes to put into that. You hear about Omicron, whatever it's called, and the Delta variants. And, those COVID has changed how we live our lives. It has changed the way we buy things. It has changed our behaviors, which affects the economy. We hear about supply chain and labor shortages, issues there, and prices that are going up, inflation, the Federal Reserve changing interest rates to cope with inflation, and how soon that's going to happen. So this is all it's a lot of noise, and it just sounds like a lot of jabber, even if you are financially educated. But that financial education can work as a screen for you. So, there are tons and tons of words coming into your head every day through ads, through videos, and people recommending products and all of that. And your financial education can be one of the screens that tells you whether a deal is good or bad. You know what's going on, you know if it's going to affect you, and you know whether you should act on it or not because of that. So that's why it is so important to me, because managing your money is something that everybody should be able to do well, but not everybody does. One last benefit is that it helps you to take advantage of the rules that are in place. People are frustrated with the ultra wealthy because it feels like as a person who works hard, who works physically or mentally taxing job, that you work way too hard for way too little. And it feels like, Joe Schmo down the street has a YouTube channel and works 2 hours out of his day, maybe, and makes the same amount of money that you do working 50 hours a week. And that's not fair, right? And it's one of the reasons, I'm not saying there aren't more reasons, but it is one of the reasons people hated Donald Trump so much, because he's wealthy and because it feels like he's not paying taxes when he's making the rest of America pay taxes. So and that's frustrating, and I get that. I get it a lot, but I could go on about that, but that's a whole other video. So yeah, being financially educated just helps you take advantage of some of those rules that are already in place to help you keep more of the money that you work hard for. And that's never a bad thing, right? All right, so let's talk about what is going on in the world today, because I think there are several things that you need to pay attention to. And it depends on your goals, like I said, but you want to pay attention to those things that are going on. On second thought, let's just move on to those fundamental steps. I don't have a lot of time left, so let's just move on to those fundamental systems that you can put in place no matter what happens in the next year that will help you be financially successful. And the first is, let's check my notes here. The first is know where your money's going, and you can budget, you can do whatever you got to do. You can get as detailed as you want, as loose as you want, but know where your money's going, because the fact is, if you don't know where your money's going, you're going to spend more of it. And when you spend most of it, you don't have any money to build wealth, because you build wealth by spending the money that you have, or that, financing an asset, which is something that makes you money. And then you let your money earn money for you, because while you have an infinite number of hours, or a finite number of hours that you can work, rather, you have to sleep, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to eat. Your money doesn't have to do any of those things. So if you can have your money make money for you, it is working constantly in your favor. And that's why you need to know where your money's going. It is one of those things that I think is essential for financially educated people. And like I said, it doesn't have to be real detailed. If you're not a detail-oriented person, and I'm not at all, you can just know where your money's going and set up a system so that you know where your bills are paid. And that's what I do. That's the next one, actually, is that you prioritize cash flow and automate everything. So how you can do that is you look around at your budget, at where your money's going, and you see where you can change things in order to keep more money in your pocket every single time you get paid. Are you paying too much in taxes up front and getting a large tax return come April of the next year? Are you paying too much for insurance when you could be paying a lot less? Is your energy bill really high? Our water heater was set really high, and I'm interested to see this month how our bill has changed, because I turned it down so much in the last month. And there are more ways, and I think I did a whole video on this, so you can go check that out if you want to know some more ways. But prioritize cash flow and then automate all of your bills. So every bill that comes out of our paycheck comes out on an automated schedule, and that way I don't ever have to worry about it. It's always paid. And guess what? As a result, my credit score goes up, because my bills are always paid. And because I budget, the money's always there to pay the bill, and I'm never late. And as I've never worked on my credit score. In fact, for a long time, I adhered to Dave Ramsey's policies, where I was very debt averse and I didn't want credit and I didn't care about my credit score. But because my name was on our mortgage and our car payment and all of that, and we were being on time with all of those payments, my credit score is excellent now. And now that I know a little bit more about how to use debt in a responsible way, then I can take advantage of that high credit score and get us a low interest rate on our mortgage, which puts more cash in my pocket and more cash flow. You see how it all connects to make you more successful in wealth building. Another one people don't often do, and I understand why, because for a long time we didn't make enough to do this either, is pay yourself first. The IRS knows that if they don't take out taxes before they deposit checks into your bank account, that they're not getting their money. Because if you get the money, who's going to set aside quarterly enough money to pay taxes? Not a lot of working class people can do that. If you get the money, you want to spend it because there's things that you want and need. So they know to take out the money first. Do the same thing for yourself. Give yourself enough respect to pay yourself first if you are able. And I would wager that many people could at least do 5% into their savings and 5% into another account which is geared toward investing. If you can't do that, maybe you need to take a step back and look at your finances in another way and rework some things, earn more money or something like that. And I don't say that lightly because I've been trying for 5 years to earn more money, and I understand how hard that is as a working class person. But maybe you're just not there yet. If you can't afford it, I've been there and I understand that. So just know that there are some caveats to these steps. And if you're not there yet, you can take a step back and try and get there this year. And then take these steps into next year because they'll work next year too. The last couple are pretty important too. That is to build your financial plan and build your team. So what goal do you want to accomplish this year? And I'm gonna make a video, I've already outlined it, on how to build a financial goal, because I think it's something not a lot of people learn how to do. They don't know how to create a goal and then follow through with it. I know that's something I really struggle with a lot. So I'm going to create a video on that. Thumbs up if you like that idea. But yeah, create your financial plan for the next year. So we'll go over in the next video how specifically to do that. But create your plan and then build your team. I think that we are taught erroneously that we have to do everything ourselves. And in schools, I talk about this a little in a prior video on building your team. If you want to know more about how to build your team, go check that out. But in schools, we're taught that collaboration isn't good. If you collaborate on a test, that's called cheating and you will be punished for it. And I think that's wrong because I can't be an expert at everything. You can't be an expert at everything. We're not expected to in our jobs, right? So why should we expect these kids to be an expert at everything instead of being an expert at the things they love, right? So there's a reason Henry Ford made the history books in creating the assembly line system, because he had one person that specialized in one thing, and because of that focus, they were able to get more done more quickly. So when you build your team, know that there are people out there that are experts in the things that you hate to do, and they are willing to give you that expertise. And when you have something to bring to the table, you can bring your expertise to the table, they can bring theirs, and together you can accomplish these goals. And it is mutually beneficial. It is a collaborative, not a competitive relationship when you build wealth. And I think that is an important thing that people don't realize. They think money is finite, and it's not. Well, the amount of money is kind of finite, given the fact that the Federal Reserve may probably stop printing it in the very near future. It's finite to a point, yes. But the point is that the amount of times it circulates is infinite. So I could have $1 that goes to the store, that goes to the employee at the store, that then goes to my business, and then I get that $1 back, right? So it's not like it disappeared when I spent it, but that's how we think of it because the money's no longer in our bank account, but it is circulating and it's going around and it comes back to you, right? So that's something important. That's all I got for you today. I'm heading home, and like I said, I've had a hard time with this video anyway, so I'm going to end it here on a high note. I will see you in the next one. Have a good night.